Martinez, I'm going to ask you a difficult question, if you'll forgive me. Try as I might, I cannot pronounce your given name.
Shu Tezkat.
Chu
Tez.
Tezka.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Shu Tezkat Martinez. I'm 14 years old and I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and I'm here to talk about the concerns I have when it comes to natural gas extraction in my home, in my backyard, in the state of Colorado. And I wanted to start by, saying how disappointed we are that the date for this hearing got postponed several times, and there was miscommunication. And from the beginning we had said that we wanted public comment. So, I'm glad that it worked out now, but definitely it would be great if we were a little bit more professional in the future to have a date set and we were to meet that date. So that would be the first thing on my mind. And so I'm here to remind you of the failures the COGCC has had in protecting the state of Colorado and protecting the people of Colorado. So just to remind you, this is all your own data from your own database. And so all this information you're going to be seeing is your own. So if you contradict it, you're going to be contradicting yourself. So your mission statement says that the mission of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission is to foster the responsible development of Colorado's oil and gas natural resources. Responsible development results in the efficient exploration and production of oil and gas resources in a manner consistent with the protection of public health, safety, and welfare, the prevention of waste, the protection of mineral owners' rights, the prevention and mitigation of adverse environmental impacts, and how you have failed at every single one of those except for the protection of mineral owners' rights. What does this mean for the people of Colorado? As you see, every low-lying basin in Colorado is a target for natural gas. And all the blue areas that you can see are shale gas basins in the state of Colorado. So that's, roughly 40% of the state. This is a predicted map of what it would look like if the oil and gas industry went through with their plans to drill another 100,000 wells in the state of Colorado. So my friend Shane Davis, he took 1,000 COGCC spill reports and he studied all of them in Weld County, and he found that roughly 43% of all of these spills resulted in groundwater contamination. So we are using millions of gallons of our most precious natural resource to mine for a fossil fuel that is far less valuable. Matt Lepore, you sent Shane an email confirming his study that roughly 40% of all spills resulted in groundwater contamination in Weld County. How is that safe? How is that protecting the air, the water, the safety of the people? These are toxic, carcinogenic chemicals that are getting into the air that we breathe and the water that we drink, and you are letting it happen. So here's another huge fail from the COGCC. You guys only have 17 inspectors for Colorado last I checked, 3 of which sit behind a desk, or 4, not quite sure, for 52,000 active oil and gas wells and 80,000 inactive wells. Roughly around 132,000 wells every year for 13 inspectors. That is physically impossible. That is an enormous fail on your part. You are allowing the natural gas industry to take our municipal water supplies. Here's a park. Who would let their kids go and play at that playground? We know the volatile organic compounds that are coming out of this flare stack. On natural gas wear pad, all of these chemicals are going into this person's window, impacting these communities. This is 60 feet away from a toxic aggregate tank. And this is a recreational area. There's a basketball court, a running trail, a little creek behind it. Who's going to want to come here when they know the kind of impact this is having on the air that they are breathing? Who would want to live in that house? Would you, Matt? Matt Lepore? Do you want to live in that house? This is where your cancer starts. The children of this state are being endangered because of your lack of responsibility when it comes to doing your job. So this is kind of the basic schematics of a natural gas well pad. And the interesting thing about this is any one of these parts and pieces, the separator of the tank battery, could combust, could explode, could leak toxic chemicals into the environment, into this community. But it's great that you guys use solar panels. I'm actually really proud of you guys for that. Flaring of carcinogenic chemicals, ethylbenzene, benzene, toluene, xylene, naphthalene, and many, many more. Those are the easy ones to pronounce. That is what is escaping into the air when you burn off this fracking fluids. So each of these industrial tanks, they produce 2 tons of hydrocarbon vapors annually. So you know that this got exempt under the Clean Air Act. And this was sourced as a minor point source of pollution. But we know 2 tons of hydrocarbon vapors every year, multiplied by the thousands, hundreds of thousands of these hydrocarbon vapor tanks, of these industrial waste tanks that there are across the state, across the country, that is a major point source of pollution, and you know it. So the Colorado School of Public Health, they came out with this amazing study, And it showed that there was an exponential increase in cancer from living within a half-mile radius of an active oil and gas well from dozens of airborne toxins. So here's a plugged and abandoned fracking well in Erie, Colorado. This is a satellite image taken in 1999. And so this is the same fracking well, but in 2005. And as you can see, they started residential development around there. 2006, someone has a fracking well in their backyard. 2011, 5 years have gone by. Do you think they know? Do you think this community knows? This is inhumane. This should not happen to any community around the world, any community in this country, and any community in this state. You have the responsibility to make better decisions with this. So just to prove that there is an increased amount of effects that happens from plugged and abandoned wells as well, you, the COGCC, requested emergency funding for explosive levels of methane seeping into occupied residential homes from plugged oil and gas wells. This entire community had to be evacuated.
That study that was brought up by Mr. Martinez. And his conclusion was, and I'll read it out loud, despite broad public concern, no comprehensive population-based studies of the public health effects of unconventional natural gas exist. Major uncertainties are the unknown frequency and duration of human exposure, future extent of development, potential emission control and mitigation strategies.
Point out that the studies don't exist, or that the studies have limitations. Why haven't those studies been done? Oil and gas has been being produced for a century, and no public health agency has done these studies. That's, even though I didn't like it when Mr. Martinez was telling me I should be ashamed, this is something we should be ashamed of. I really have trouble with us hiding behind comments of limited value, many limitations, no studies exist, significant limitations, short period of time, inherent limitations. I have trouble with that. I have trouble with hiding behind our ignorance. And I would really, really, really like my public health agency people to be fighting for me and my health.
The COGA respectfully submits that the petition should be denied. The petition requests relief on the basis of a doctrine that has not been applied in Colorado and has been repudiated by the state's courts. For these reasons and others I will discuss, COGA does respectfully request that the Commission deny the petition in its entirety. The petitioner's asserted basis for the rulemaking are, number one, that climate change is occurring and threatening the global climate. Number two, that it will impact Colorado. And number three, and this is the crux of the petition, that the public trust doctrine mandates that the Commission take action to address these issues. As discussed in detail in COGA's 510 statement, the public trust doctrine does not apply to water quality, air quality, or GHG emissions in the state of Colorado.
So I can't get into all of the failures the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission has committed, because I would be here far past my stay if I were to go into every single one in detail. I'm going to leave you with this, especially for you, Matt LaFleur, because everyone before you that has had your job before you has failed to protect the people of Colorado when it comes to natural gas extraction. But you, all the people here in this room, commissioners, you have the responsibility, you have the opportunity to turn things around, to make a better choice, to make a difference, and be the commission that changed Colorado, that stood up for the rights of the children, that stood up for the rights of the people in these communities that are being impacted. They clean up the water and the air, because they realize that natural gas is one of the dirtiest ways of extracting fossil fuels on the planet, and it is going to affect our community, this community in Colorado most of all. So I want to thank you for my time, and I really am hoping with all that I am that you will make the correct decision, because it is your responsibility and you have the obligation and the opportunity to make a difference. Thank you.
All of you, the young and the young at heart, that have made some very compelling arguments. You've done a wonderful job, and it is very, very much appreciative and in fact encouraging for us more mature people to be able to witness that. I don't know if any other commissioners want to comment on that aspect before we go into deliberation, or
We'll probably disappoint you today in some way or another, whether we take some of what you said or whatever, you're going to feel let down. But remember, like with the lead stuff, that took 60 years after they knew it was a poison. So it takes a while.
with that, I will entertain a motion from the commission relative to the petition request.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the petitioner's request to initiate a rulemaking at this point be denied.
We have a motion to deny. Is there a second? I feel a bit like a dentist. A second. Now, any further discussion or comments any of you wish to make? Hearing none, then, all those in favor of denying the petition indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition, same sign.